Welcome to Polishing Profits by the Profitable Cleaner Network, hosted by Mark Anderson, Sharon Cowan, CBSE, and Ed Selkow, seasoned cleaning business owners with over 140 years of success. Learn what works, skip the missteps, and build on proven success.
Welcome to Polishing Profits. And we have a great puppeteer there, Ed, giving us the puppet wave, I guess,
No,
like on the end or something.
Yeah, no, that was hello from Curly.
Isn't that supposed to be on the top of your head?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to have a series of sessions, and we're going to talk about planning. We're not going to talk about the one-page plan. We're not going to talk about the 100-page plan. We're going to talk about simple planning process that anyone at any level, except Sharon pointed out this would be hard to do if you were a startup, can put this to work in their business to have a better quarter, a better next year, whatever you want and when you want it, you can go through and use these processes to help you make your business better, grow faster, more profit, and know where you are and how to put the metrics to it. So how does that sound, guys? Did I cover the
What do you mean we can't spend 10 minutes a week on this? I mean we actually got to show up and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, if you own the business, you can spend 10 minutes. I don't care what.
Yeah,
you
no,
do.
there's people that say, like if you spend more than 10 minutes a week, you're an idiot. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're all idiots. We all built multi-million-dollar businesses over decades, so I guess we're guilty. Is that what you're saying, Ed?
Pretty much. Although my first consulting job was a guy that said success in the cleaning industry is directly in proportion to the distance between you and the toilet.
Not bad advice, actually.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little show and tell today, if I can do this thing correctly. So let's give it a go here. I wish somebody'd come up with a one size fits all on how to share a screen on this stuff,
Yeah.
It would be lovely, but they don't. Let's see what happens there.
There. Looks like you got it.
Look at that. I lost you guys, but that's okay. We've got the screen. We'll go for it. I know what.
We're on the side.
Yeah, we're on the side. We see you.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not on the side, but I don't need to see me.
Yeah, you are.
I'm on your side, but I'm not on my side. I just have a screen that has the plan up.
Okay. You're not.
That was another one of those existential comments, Ed.
Well, just don't pick your nose, man. We'll be fine.
Thanks for the warning. Duly noted. So where we want to start is business planning. And you've all read this. It gets down to you spend more time planning a night out, going to a ball game, taking a vacation, or how to get out of doing something than many people do on their business. Now, not everybody. And a big portion of this is people just don't like to plan. And there's a number of reasons. Ed, what do you think the reasons are people don't like to sit down and plan?
People don't understand how important it is. I mean, that's really the main thing. You wouldn't think about driving cross country without a map, would you?
Right.
And a business plan is a map. We're here and we're going to go here. So
why do you think they find it difficult, Sharon? That's a question I get asked all the time. It's too difficult, and you ask why, and you kind of get this blank stare.
Because there isn't anything in their brain. Their brains don't function that way because they are doers. They're typically doers. Okay, younger entrepreneurs, and so it requires sitting down, having specific questions to answer, and thinking through your answers and coming up with what's best for your business. And that's a lot to ask of somebody who maybe is at the first 5-year level. They're not programmed to do that. They're programmed to be out networking and selling and marketing and doing all the fun things. And this, why I always found this fun. A lot of them don't find it fun. It's a chore, and they don't know exactly what to do.
Yeah, where to start, what to do. And I
There's some,
have
there's some
Go
great
ahead.
there's some great tools out there now that steps you through
Yes, there are.
a very, very sophisticated business plan. Do you remember the plan we had for Scientific?
Oh yeah, I
That
remember
was
going.
listen, man, that was some website I paid, and it was just all fill in the blanks. It was wonderful. And that thing was
Mhm.
75 pages, if you remember.
Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
trying to remember who does that because there is a piece of software when I was with Score, and I actually used it early on with a lot of my clients that had zero plans to start with. But it is very robust, and they've got a short and a long version. But there is planning software out there that's good. I think the problem you get into, everybody looks at all those questions and goes, "Oh nuts." You know, I
Yeah.
I don't want to answer all these questions. You were trying to get big money, Ed, for your project, and you knew what you were doing. But yeah, though you can find them. This is our idea of a kind of a cross between something that goes deep and something that just gets you done and gets you moving. But
Mhm.
what's the largest company you guys have ever run into volume wise that didn't really have a planning? Um, what's the word I'm looking for?
Oh,
Strategy.
geez.
I'm just curious.
I
Well,
would say the majority of mine did not. All volume ranges,
Yep.
the majority did not.
Yeah, I've run into as high as 10 million that basically just kind of played it off the cuff. I
I
mean,
tell
they
you,
knew what they
Mhm.
were doing, but go ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
what I think what's more common is that folks don't uh, uh, their idea of a plan is like pulling stuff out of thin air. So
Mhm.
there's no analysis of any kind at all. And I remember sitting through a meeting with a with a company over 100 million over $100 million, and they were just picking numbers out of the air. You know what I mean? It was kind of, well,
Mhm.
we want to put on 15 million this year, and it's like, okay, based on what and where, you know?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
there was really no connection. There was really no connection at all. You
Mhm.
guys were doing $100 million, so I mean, they must have been doing something right.
I sat down with one company similar, not that bad. You win as far as you win the volume prize.
Yeah,
But
we win.
I sat down with somebody one day and said, "Well, what do you want to grow next year?" We want to grow 3 million. And I'm looking at the numbers and go, "You haven't grown 3 million in 3 years. What makes you think you can do it next year?" "Oh, well, I want to." And I go, "Well, that's interesting. How are you going to get there?" And there was just dead silence.
Yeah.
I
Well,
said, "You haven't done."
now the other thing is they're only going to expand. Their expansion is limited to their available working capital.
Right.
I mean,
And
that's
their
I mean that
and their people, their foundation, both
yeah.
financial and personnel. Yep, resources. So with that said, let's flip this up here, and we're going to introduce a simple business plan for everybody. Just things to think about, whether it's the quarter, the month, or you're planning for a year. This guide works in all instances. So what are the key questions effective for planning? And there's really, it is this simple. And you can take down and Ed, I think if you think back through the software you use, basically this is the foundation for planning or fixing anything.
Mhm.
Where is my business today? Where am I financially, customer success? We're going to talk about each of these areas, and you lay the same template over. And real quick, I'm not talking about doing a post-mortem or an autopsy, but just figure out, how did I get here? You know, if I don't have enough revenue, it's pretty important to answer why don't I have enough revenue?
Mhm.
And what do you want to do? Where do you want to go next year? So we'll just take this one on an annual, but that year can be replaced with quarter, next month. Basically, your metrics should be checked every month. But in this context, let's say we're doing an annual plan. And then how do we get there? So where am I? How did I get here? Where do I want to go, and how do I get there? What do you guys think? I mean, isn't that pretty much how you plan to
Mhm.
go somewhere or a
Mhm.
trip?
Mhm.
Well,
Absolutely.
a simple outline is just who, what, when, where, how, and why.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
So we'll pop this
And
up
this
here.
this can be adapted to a startup as well, because they don't
Yeah.
have a lot of history yet. So you have to adapt it somewhat to make it work for them. I have used this for startups,
Okay.
and it works. It works.
And we put, this is typical. This comes out of good to great. And I'm sure Collins didn't come up with this himself. But the questions, so when you get that, when you're looking at each area, whether you're looking at your sales, your marketing, your finances, your operations, everything has to be challenged. What should you stop doing? What do you improve on? What do we keep doing? And what should we start doing? That's the key. Because if you're doing something that isn't moving in the direction, what should you do? Get rid of it. It's called
This can
purposeful.
be a short acronym called KISS. So what do you keep? What do you improve? What do you stop? And what do you start?
Oh, nice job, Sharon. As much as I've worked with
I've
this, I've
used
never
this
put that
before.
together. Okay, so you've got a framework. Okay. And
Yeah,
again,
I mean,
these aren't new things. We're bringing proven stuff that makes businesses operate, whether you're a
yeah.
Fortune 1 or you're a Fortune wonder. I'm still wondering how I'm
Mhm,
going to get started. This
mhm.
is how people plan and get stuff done. So those are the thoughts on how to get this done. So what areas of your business should you look at? I'm just going to pop up, and we're going to cover each of these areas. But I almost said the five of us because there's 5 areas. The 3 of us, you want to look at your marketing, your selling, your business management, your finance. Those have to be covered. A lot of you with smaller companies, what's business management? We'll talk about that. You may not have a lot of activity that year, but or that first few years, excuse me. So, but it's all the things that you do to make the business run behind the scenes. It could be HR, it could be a number of things. It can be your insurances. It's all the things that go in your SG&A, sales general administrative. So with that said, we're going to introduce the effective planning question wheel, and we just
You
talked
know,
about it. Go
can we
ahead.
just jump back just a second here?
Where do you want
Look, the old axiom about nothing happens till somebody sells something puts you where that's the first order of business. And so when I see people struggling, how do I get accounts? It's like, well, what was your plan? How did you think you were going to get accounts?
Mhm.
But I
What
mean,
Oh,
kind of answer?
oh,
I'm always interested. What answer do you get from that
oh,
question?
no, there is no, there is no answer.
no, there is no answer.
Okay, well, we have agreement then. There is no answer. They just look at you and go, okay. So
But
again,
it's the truth though. Nothing. I mean, nothing happens until something's sold.
well, yeah,
Mhm.
you don't have a client till you sell something.
Right. Yeah.
It isn't the chicken and the egg. I don't have a business till I have a client.
Right.
I used to, when I was working for somebody when I was in college, they used to say, well, go out and sell something, because I was an account manager. So I'd have to go out and hit the streets and sell something. But basically, our wheel, and this wheel goes over the 5 vital areas. This stuff, again, is not hard. You just need to have a little bit of discipline to do it. And if you would set yourself aside, well, let's just say 2 hours and you do 30-minute blocks, you could get through this at least at a level that you would have a format or a template to work from if you wanted to expand on it. So I think,
Didn't score had a good one though, Mark, didn't they?
yeah, well, score is pretty much like this. This is a combination of a number of things that I've learned over the years and just threw them together. Um, it's very close to the Deming wheel: plan, do, check, take action, but we just put the questions in here. And there's just some things that you want to, so, the present, the future vision, the future outlook, and then you start with the current state. So that's the journey to the present. What's my current state? And that's not hard. I'm missing 10 people. Well, you need to ask the question, why am I 10 people short? So when you start planning, you're looking at your resource, and Ed mentioned this earlier, and so did Sharon. You have two resources, money and people. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, that's pretty much the deal. We don't buy big buildings or factories or things to get done. We have money and people, and those are our two resources, and you have to have enough to move forward.
Well,
and go ahead, Ed.
Let me add connections to that.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some stellar growth situations, but it's always somebody that has done it before.
Mhm.
Yep.
I spoke with some guys. They were former ABM people. They went out on their own, and the end of the first year, they're doing $6 million.
Was that the group that went into the aviation field?
I don't know. I don't know. This was long enough ago. I don't know that they had everything divided up like they do now.
Okay.
They have different operating groups.
Yeah, but the group I'm thinking of, I'm not going to mention any name, not because it's good, bad, or indifferent. I just don't want to mention someone's name when I haven't asked them permission. But yeah, they're in the 8 figures plus right now doing airports, and they came out of ABM and been very successful. But
so those connections count.
Yes, they do.
They really do. I mean, that's why the last one I started went so well. I was able to start with some nice building.
Do you have any comments you want to add to this, Sharon, before we march into our first area and talk about using the effective planning question wheel in marketing? First area we're going to explore.
Other than this is a general overview of the system that you're going to apply to each one of these areas that we're talking about. This is like the roadmap, and then it's going to be tweaked to marketing and selling and service delivery and business management and financials. But it's a template that you'll use.
Well, with that said, let's move the overview and let's look what it looks like in specifics. And to Ed's point, we have nothing to do until we have a customer. So there's 2 steps of getting customers. There's a marketing side and a sales side. So Sharon just mentioned that we've got the overview wheel here. So what questions do we ask of ourselves? And let's just talk to this. I mean, we can start with the current state of business up in the left corner, left top quadrant. But evaluating your current marketing performance. And that's your unique value proposition or your value prop, whichever you want. Target market lead generation and customer acquisition costs. And if you are wondering what those are, then you need to figure out what you're doing with marketing. You guys think those are fair places to start? You have to understand those.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And then also we should put out there that all 3 of us can help anybody get through this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're all qualified to do this. So
look at all the scars on our back and the blood we've lost putting it to work, right? So you look at what your current state is, and if you don't have a marketing plan, well, do I need one? I'll go back to what we talked about earlier. Yeah, you do. Even if it's as simple a handful of cards, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to go around 3 blocks of my current account and see what else I can pick up. That's a marketing plan.
That's a plan right there.
That's a plan. If you have nothing else, that's a plan. Because you're going to figure out, first you have to have something to say to the prospect when you get in there or drop things off. And you want to know who you're going to call on. And then that's lead generation. So basically, folks, you've got to have leads coming in at all times, and they've got to be the kind of leads you're going to want. But so do you have a marketing approach, a strategy?
We hope you have been enjoying part 1 of our 3-part series. Be sure to tune in next week for part 2.